Hi. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of More to the Story. I'm Farron Moore.
And I'm to hear more.
Thank you. He did it right this time. And we have actually this will be like it'll look like 3 weeks in a row we had Ty Davis with us. So Ty Davis is still with us.
Yes.
But today we got someone else super special. We have Miss Tiffany Ramm.
Hi guys.
Yay.
Hey.
This is comedian Ty Davis. I just want to give a little bit just in case somebody's popping in for this one and didn't see the other ones. Comedian Ty Davis, you would want to say anything else about the things that you do?
Hey y'all.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
Oh, so he reserved the stupid for you.
Giving it all
I
to you
appreciate
this
it.
I mean, I be
Hey.
telling jokes and stuff.
They're funny jokes. I follow her, I know.
Right. And Tiffany, tell us who you are.
Oh, wonderful. I'm a social worker and therapist, and I specialize in the treatment of trauma, anxiety, depression, and sex and sexuality, which is why I think I'm here today.
Nice.
Yes. So the ask to Tiffany actually stemmed from a post you made. And actually, I didn't see the original live until afterwards. But the post that you made, just the people just being silly about your
Yes.
live.
Always.
just give us all some backstory on it.
All right, so I think the post you're speaking on is when I went live to be like out loud and proud for Pride Month, which isn't new news for people who follow me. I have been openly pansexual for a very long time, but I made a post about I'm not straight, I'm pansexual, and to talk about what is pansexuality and like how do you know if that label's for you or whatever. Oddly enough, I actually lost a ton of followers that day. Apparently my followers are like, oops, I didn't know that.
Fuck those
Why-
people.
But I was like, well, then this space isn't for you because I've clearly not hidden this fact for a very long time. But yes, I do identify as pansexual, and I have for a while since I knew what the word was. Prior to identifying as pansexual, I did identify as bisexual, and I've been out basically my whole life. So that's not new news to people who know me.
Right. Okay. So
I'm a pan pizza.
I'm so sick of his shit.
I love pan pizza from Pizza Hut. It is, and I've been out for a while about this pan pizza. I've been,
So you just don't discriminate
you
against
keeping an eye on
pizzas?
me because you worried I'm gonna chop you in the throat?
go ahead, show everybody your violent ways. Go ahead. I don't see you hit me at home.
Yeah, so that's what this actually stemmed from. And I was like, yo, I want Tiffany on the show to address that. But also, I just know that in a lot of ways, and because sometimes me or us self-identified cisgendered people, we just have a lot of jokes about the LGBTQ, but without an understanding of it.
Right.
And so I wanted a breakdown of what the acronym stands for and the pronouns and just I just wanted to better educate me and the More to the Story family.
Yes. So for those of you, I know Tony Baker, for all of you who follow him, he'd be having difficulties just saying the acronym, which I get it. It's a lot of letters. So
Yes.
LGBTQIA+.
Right.
Yes. So L's pretty self-explanatory. Is lesbian, girls who like girls. G for gay, men who like men. GB.
So, a question. Sorry. How come, but aren't lesbians also gay? Like, can't they?
Yes. So, it comes down to, Latin-based words and all of that and just how, society over a historical time has represented those words. So you are correct, and then that's where Q gets a little more, interesting. So
Yeah, I have
we'll
questions
get
about
there,
that too. Yes.
So, in general, G usually represents gay for, men who like men. L, G, B, bi, which is either way. You like boys and girls either way. LGBT, transgender. There's a huge conversation in the community where does transgender and even the QIA part, why in the world did we lump gender and sexuality things together? And it's semi-political, semi-not. But anyways, that's a whole nother ongoing conversation in the community. So LGBT, transgender, Q is queer. That's where some people are like, oh my God, I don't understand. Q can really represent the entire like LGB, like, right? Because queer, the historical word is queer. If you look up in the dictionary, it actually means like strange, weird, odd.
Okay.
Right? So it came out like anywhere between the 16 and 1800s to really just say anybody who wasn't heterosexual, you are an oddity. And then similar to like Black people taking back the N-word, the queer community took back the queer word to be more like affirming and positive instead of it being like a negative word.
Well, I saw somewhere that the Q could also stand for questioning.
Yeah, I think that was just like a trend that happened when people didn't know that Q was for queer. So I also,
because I was like, wouldn't questioning your identity or sexuality, wouldn't that be like a temporary thing? Like, would you actually?
Yeah, it definitely came in a time where like people weren't like okay with saying your sexuality was like it's here to stay. It's not just a phase. So definitely questioning, like historically speaking, came from like a trend of cis people being like, no, like you're not really like, are you sure? So no, Q and the community has always stood for queer.
Gotcha.
And then I is intersex. So intersex is people who are animals or humans that are born with male and female organs.
Is hermaphrodites like an acceptable word still?
I mean,
Because isn't that technically?
it's the scientific word for it,
Okay.
but because there's so much like stigma now towards it, intersex is the more appropriate word.
Yeah, because it's not just XX and XY. Some people
Right.
are XX.
Y
and,
plus
yeah.
and like there's just
Yeah,
our
yeah.
chromosomes scientifically are doing all they do all the things. They do what they want, right? Like
All the things.
and that's why when people are like, oh, God's way, I'm like, do you know? Like, I made all of these things. So, I
Right.
mean, not to come at your religion or whatever your belief system is, but scientifically speaking, all these things have existed for a very long time. And so, yeah, intersex is just that. A is asexual. And as someone who's a very sexual person, this is the one that's always intrigued me, which there are people who just do not have like a sexual arousal to other humans. And so asexual like really represents those people who are like, I don't actually have a sexual identity. I am not, sexually interested in other people. And that as someone who is like a sexual creature and specifically pansexual, that's always intrigued me. But yeah, there are really people out there that are just like, nope. That's not for me. And I'm like, celibacy forever, ever? Okay. Like, that's
You poor thing.
whoa, right? So that's the A. And then plus is everybody else where those labels don't like perfectly represent you. And that's why the plus is so important because technically pansexual fits in the plus.
Okay, so pansexual wouldn't fall under queer, but no, you said queer
Or queer.
kind of encompasses all of it, right? Okay. So I've been just in the research of this, can you explain to me, because I get confused on what to call a trans person. Like, is a trans man a woman who transitioned into a man?
Yes.
Okay, when I tell you I like sweat bullets trying to get that right when I'm having a conversation, because I'm like, so I just abort and be like trans person, because I don't know which way the transition goes, I guess,
Right.
or where to put it. And I'm like, I'm sure I'm not the only person who gets confused about this. So, yes, trans man, born a woman, transitioned into a man, trans woman transitioned into a woman. Got it.
Facts.
What is cis?
That's your natural born gender
But what
that
does,
you
where did-
identify with, right? So like if you're born with female genitalia and you identify as a female, you're a cisgender female.
not just a female.
I mean, you can just be like, I'm a female, but when you're talking in the community and people like, if people want to know, you're like, oh, I'm a cisgender woman.
Okay. Where did the do you know where the prefix cis came from?
Honestly, the history of them, I don't. To be completely honest, though, those prefixes have always existed. I think just now that I tell people, like, language is just a way to communicate. Don't get stuck on the label if it's not important to you. There's a lot of people who are definitely in the plus part of the community that just, they don't use the labels. And you might feel the impulse to need to label them, like, but isn't that gay? But aren't you bisexual then? Like, because I have had partners where it's like, yeah, they're very fluid, but they just don't feel those labels are necessary to communicate. So they just be like, I don't identify with the labels. And for someone like me, that's kind of hard sometimes because I'm very like, I need these labels to help me communicate. Like, okay.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, so the labels have always been there, especially like scientifically speaking and for like some government documentation purposes, like to identify, like, yeah, are you natural born or non-natural born? Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, this is like turning into like a whole question and answer thing, but
And I do not know everything. That's the
Yes.
best part of being an expert is I just typically, it means I know more than the average person.
Right.
But I'm
yes.
still learning, and I love, like, if in the comments people are like, wait a minute, Tiff, like, yeah, let me know. Because I'm learning too. That's part of the journey.
Can you break down like gender fluid and non-binary? Like, what's the differences? Are there differences?
Candace Carter said real quick, cis is Latin derived, means on the side of, versus trans meaning opposite of.
Oh,
there we
okay.
go.
Thank
See?
you, Fran.
I
Thanks,
appreciate
Candace
you.
Carter.
See?
Exactly. I'm like, I knew it was Latin based. I just didn't know the actual definition. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. But yeah, the gender fluid and non-binary, like to me, it seems like it's the same thing. Like they're interchangeable, but I feel like I don't necessarily hear them used interchangeably.
Yeah, they are a little different, and I still myself like get a little like, wait, what? So, because I know one of the more famous celebrities recently has been like, I'm non-binary, and we're like, you're trying all the labels, which is your business, ma'am. But like Demi Lovato has recently said also like, okay, I'm non-binary, which means you're not specifically identifying with male or female.
Okay.
Where and that's specifically around gender. Gender fluidity is more like androgynous. When people are like, oh, I'm ethnically androgynous, is like I ever blend between the identities. Like I embrace all of those aspects. I guess the best version would be, and this is me a bad like example, but on the spot, is like I grew up as a pageant girl, but I also have 3 older brothers. So I also love to like stomp in the mud and wear baggy jeans and like, so I kind of did all the things. And for me, there was no need to be like, I'm a girl, I'm a boy. Like I was just like, I'm all the things. Can I wear baggy jeans and put my hair in a ponytail and, you know, do that? And then can I also be a ballerina? Like,
Right.
what?
Right.
Like that's not a thing.
Yeah.
So that's where like non-binary is more like, nope, I'm not
Yeah.
either or. Like I can be both. But yeah, and gender fluid is more like sampling in between. There's definitely a better definition, but it's the best one I have on the spot without like looking at my paper. But I would say also, again, these are just terms to help you communicate. So if you get them wrong, the intention is there, right? Clearly you guys are more open and affirming than like someone who's just like, y'all just some freaks in nature, I hate you. So like the sincerity and just coming with like an open mind to be like, oh, I want to learn or I'm interested. Also keep in mind, not everybody in the community knows the words.
Okay.
You know, like I used to lead a teen support group because I was a high school social worker for, you know, just LGBTQIA plus teens. And that was one of the things we used to do is go over like the vocab and they'd be like, what? That means, huh? But you know, like you can identify a certain way, but you don't necessarily know what everybody else's words are. So, you know, that's why especially white gay men, you know, they have a certain kind of privilege still, you know, like, so it's like they don't necessarily always know other people's words, you know?
Right.
And so we're all learning together, whether you're in the community or not.
Okay. And looking this up, I don't want to mislabel anyone, but I do want to shout them out as people that I like follow on IG and stuff who seem to me fall under these, I don't know, labels, I guess. But I didn't know like trans masculine was like a thing. I just, you know, you just hear like a butch woman. But, you know, she's very much like, no, I am a woman. I just present masculine.
Correct.
And I want that to be the, you
This
know.
is the first
how
time I've
you
ever
see me.
heard that.
Really? So it's this pretty hot chick on IG. Her handle is She Does Him. Her name is Allison. She very much, she's not trying to be a man. She has
Right.
not said anything about, which why would she, but that's whatever. She hasn't said anything about transitioning, but she does say, I am a masculine presenting woman.
Right.
Like at the core of it, I am still a woman, you know,
Right.
and, you know, and she's, you know, it's just cool just looking this up. I was like, that sounds like Allison. But like I
Right.
really know her. I do not know her. And I'm not trying to like throw any labels on you, on
Right.
her or anything. I'm saying you like she's watching this. I'm not trying to throw any
Hopefully
labels.
she is.
Right. on her or anything, but I was able, just make the connections
Right.
in who you see. But and also who Melissa told us about Amber's Closet. She seems like she would fall under, and I just knowing the words, so I'm not looking so dumb in a conversation. Like, I'm not trying to be an expert at anything, but I do want to know a little bit about everything. Like, I like
Right.
learning shit. And this was one of them. And on the other side, the trans feminine,
Right.
a man, I am a man, but I present feminine. And there's someone named Miles Sexton who's like just the cutest little thing, but he just bubbly. He's just cute. But look up his IG as well, and that's just who I picture as,
Right.
because he's very much like, I'm a man, but I present very feminine,
Right.
and that's just who I think of if you're trying to
And people get
piece
that
things
confused because
together.
they think if you're trans, feminine, or masculine that you are transgender.
Gender.
You're not.
You're not,
There's
right.
a lot of people who are like, oh, I present more masculine, but of course I love my female body. I feel very comfortable
Mm-hmm.
in it. And that's where people get a little confused. Like, well, then aren't you trans? Don't you want to be a man? Like, I
No.
can like my vagina and be very masculine still.
Right,
So,
right. And there's another guy that I feel that I thought of, learning more about the trans feminine term. Andre Cavassier, he does the wigs and stuff, but sometimes he'll post and he looks like a cisgender man, like
Right.
and other times he'll post and he head to toe like fucking flawless ass woman, like
Yes.
okay. So just these are just the people who popped
What
into
you
my
be
head.
like?
Okay. Don't do that, man.
but the transformations, if you haven't followed the transformations are like,
yeah.
So I be following the same things clearly that Farron be following. I be like, hey,
Right.
what?
Right. And he does like hair and makeup and stuff, which is how I found him. But now I'm like, yo, sir. So
I'm
yeah.
low key envious, like, what?
Right.
I don't know how to put on a wig this well.
Right. So and I found on who was this school? Texas Tech University, their trans student organization. They have like this whole little diagram called the gender unicorn. And this little diagram pointed out something I'd never thought of, but I'm just going to run through it. Just under gender identity, it's female, woman, girl, man, male, man, boy, and then it has like other genders. So pausing there. It's very difficult for me to think of gender outside of male and female. So how do I phrase this question? I probably should have typed it out because I've had it in my head the whole time. But it's like, what other are there? Like, is that, no, because that's sexual identity. Isn't LGBT like lesbian, gay, queer? That's sexual identity.
Right.
So the different genders. Can you break
Right,
that down
so-
to me?
And a lot of people, that's where like a lot of people get really frustrated, or they like go back on like their religious upbringing and their environment. And that's where I literally tend to default back to indigenous cultures. If you follow like any of the Native American cultures or any of like the indigenous cultures of Central or South America or Africa, almost all of them, even Egyptian cultures, identify a non-binary option, or like individuals that are like the three spirit, and some of the Native American cultures that, represent like intersex. Like there is this thing, there are humans who have male and female organs, and there are individuals who kind of have this spirit that is not just feminine or masculine. And so many of the indigenous cultures like have this in history. It's documented and we can read about it. And so that's where some of the other gender identities come from. And English language for us in the United States, the most common is they, them. And I think why it becomes very confusing is because we have been taught that them is plural.
Right.
Right.
But it's not. In regards to gender, it can be used singularly. So they, them is a gender, an identity for someone who does not only exclusively, identify as like he, she, or him,
So
her.
non-binary is a gender. It's not okay, because I just kept thinking of it as like a sexual identity, and I'm like, I'm confused on. I'm just trying to make it make sense so that I can have at least partially informed conversation. Okay.
No worries. I have a friend whose 10-year-old is currently like having gender expression, like transition, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, this is difficult." Like, even as a educator and as someone who's like very much in the community and aware, she's like, when it's your own kid, and now you're like, yeah, the pronouns. Like, wait a minute, I've been calling you this pronoun for the first 10 years of your life, and now like, wait, there's a new pronoun, and how do I use it? So, and just typing everything they, them. It is definitely just a behavior change because culturally and societally we are not used to it. So you're not alone. Again, just trying is like step one. And even me, like a lot of my stuff I tried to, even for work and stuff, like try to change it to like identify like she, her, so people know, and that's like something in the community that's become really more common. So people know, one, you're an ally, and then two, like how do you identify?
Okay. 'Cause, I like that you brought up the kid because it just seems like people keep attacking Dwayne Wade about his daughter, who is, the trans person. And it's like, this, for starters, this is a baby. So leave her alone. And she just seems so happy in her skin. Like she just seems very aware and comfortable with who she is.
Right.
And it's like, above all, isn't that what's important? But, people just seem to be so just enthralled with who other people are
That niggas be gay, man.
attracted to or who they're having
Or
sex
just
with.
be
And
not
it's
like you.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
Let people
Yeah.
be not like you. A
Yes.
great documentary, and it's like a mini one. It's only like 30 minutes, I think. And Laverne Cox helped in it, but it's like not around her. But it's called The T Word. And so it's a really short documentary that takes you through transitioning kids specifically, like kids under 10 and their parents and like that whole process. And I think it just really is enlightening, regardless of where you're at, like in this whole like process. It gives you a little more insight. And that's what I think everybody, I'm like, if you can just be empathetic to the fact that like it isn't your experience and you don't know what it's like.
Right.
I always think about like identifying as something else other than what you were born in and feeling trapped inside this physical body and being looked at, referred to, and treated as something opposite than what you feel. Like that must feel like prison. And for someone to say, okay, now the world is at least compliant enough and open enough to accept me as this versus what I was born in as, I don't understand why people have so much pushback to that. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That
Like
just blows my mind.
The audacity that you think that you can tell me how to
Niggas got a
live
lot of
my
audacity.
life.
But it's also
So much
like
audacity.
conditioning, like societal conditioning and norms. Like I remember coming up, my mother never made us feel a way if we were gay or whatever. Like it was just like, oh, if you are, you are. And it was so casual and matter of factly when my daughter told me she was bisexual, I was like, all right, turn up. So you want lasagna for dinner? Like, what are we? Like, I don't. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, like, so. But I think but some people are raised or they come up in a space where it's like, oh, you are a boy, you are this. Like I was a tomboy. I like to play football and climb trees and do all of this. But my mother also made me wear ugly flowered dresses and do ballet and tap dancing and gymnastics. And it's like, I like to do boy things. I like to do girl things. Like I like to wear makeup, but sometimes I also like to, dress down. And I have people from the community. I am an ally. But
I don't know who she was pointing at.
Right.
She's like, all the
Each and every
cameras,
one of
all
y'all.
of y'all.
Each and every one of y'all.
you
Just
know
so
what I
you know.
mean? Because I have people ask me, mostly I have women ask me, are you gay? And I've had some of my gay friends or lesbian friends say to me, you have strong lesbian energy. And I'm like, but I'm not. But I support you.
Right?
I think also is like, well, I always wonder if it is more society conditioning and upbringing, like the church and things like that, or is it more that we like to put people in a box? And you're easier to label as freak or gay versus have all of these other boxes that help us identify you, because I just don't want to put in the work. Because these are new words for so many people to, one, accept, two, learn, three, actually apply when you're talking to that person, that it's easier for them to say, I'm not believing in all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because or is it just a mix between the two of them? Because it's a lot of that goes on. And I mean, obviously ignorance plays a big part in it, but it also could just be laziness, laziness, and not wanting to.
It's about being self-aware. And like, okay, remember the first time on Zoom with the homies, we did the ether thing, right? And I said the lyrics as written, and I dropped the F-bomb hard, how Nas said it. And the next day, I never said anything to anybody, but the next day flooded with, you can't, and I was like, you know what? You're right. And I never used it again because someone put it to me like, you don't like it when non-black people use the N-word. This is how I feel about you. And I was like, totally get it.
Right.
So when I did the video again on TikTok and I said maggot instead of the hard F word, there were people like, oh, so you can say nigga, but you can't. I can say whatever I want to say. And the reason I'm not saying that is because of my choice, and because I can't expect somebody to care about the things that are important to me if I don't care about the things that are important to them.
Yeah.
I talked about that on Zoom too. It's like, we all belong to certain communities, and we all have words that are exclusive for that community. You know what I'm saying? Like the N-word exclusive for the black community, those that do choose to say it. It's the same way that women be like, bitch, yes. Like, that's y'all stuff. Like, what I look like calling another woman bitch, like, yo, bitch. What? Like, it just don't feel right for me. That's never really been my thing. I know some guys call women bitches loosely, but that's just like that's just not what I do. And it's like, you know, I know some gay guys call each other the F word pretty loosely too. But that's your community. I'm not gonna act like I'm part of that community just to be able to say that word, knowing I'm not fully committed to that or anything like that. If that belongs or like really resides there, then I'm gonna respect that. And then I think a lot of people have a problem with that because they grew up saying that word and their family grew up saying that word. So now you're having this whole new community who wants rights and wants to be treated equally, saying also you can't say this thing that you used to say all your life. And then like it gives them another reason to be ignorant and hateful and resentful because they feel like something is being stripped from them. But you never owned that word, motherfucker. Like, that's not your word. So just change. Words and lingo and jargon change all the time in the workplace. If you're willing to adhere to that, you know what I'm saying, to save your job and keep your money coming in, you can respect somebody in that community asking you not to say a word that comes off hurtful for them.
Yep. Well said. And I like that this has caused people to even question how they're raising their kids nowadays. Like, I remember, you know, I was already, you know, very in my mind. I had a girl. I'm raising a girl. But once I saw it, I felt like it was too late for my transition when I learned that there was another way that I could have handled it. But just people, you know, are like, I'm not raising a boy or a girl. This kid will decide, you know, and they move with that energy. And it's like, that is great. Like, just starting from birth, making this kid comfortable with who they are and just giving them that strength that they get to call on. They get to call the shots about who they will be, you know? And, you know, my kid, y'all have heard us say it a million times. We talk about all of it. We cover all the bases, all the things. She knows who she is, and she knows that mama gonna be there regardless. But I raised, in my mind, a girl. And, you know, and so I can see the struggle with thinking outside of that. I mean, hell, I'm expressing my struggle with thinking outside of that, but consider this as more to the story during the work to get things right. So just back to the gender unicorn.
Yay.
So the gender expression as female, masculine, other, those are the options. So other sounds like non-binary,
Right.
encompasses that. Then there's sex assigned at birth. The female, male, intersex, which we talked about, born with male and female biological sex organs.
Right.
Now, wait, does the parent have the right to say, cut that penis off?
They do, but it's controversial.
Well, the controversy is more so historically speaking, the parents have not actually had the choice. The doctors typically made the choice and wouldn't even tell the parents.
Ooh.
Just so y'all know.
Oh,
Okay?
wow.
So intersex kids, like that's why a lot of people just don't know intersex is a thing and it's been here since the beginning of mankind, like the world, is because scientifically speaking, like our society has pushed a lot of things under the rug. Like we want it to be binary, we want it to be masculine, feminine, and this is what masculine and feminine looks like and whatever. So yeah, a lot of times the parents didn't even know that the doctors had made these decisions. And then when their child maybe later did identify with like transgender like concerns or issues or identity crisis, it wasn't even identity crisis. Like, no, you really had these organs. You really were both. And so now the conversation, even politically and governmentally, is like, should parents be choosing at birth, or can you allow your children to grow to a certain age and then choose for themselves? And so, yeah, it's definitely, that's its own conversation, even politically speaking, because for transgender people, one of the number one issues besides the surgery and getting assigned, and that's a whole nother conversation, and Lord Jesus, but is changing your gender on your government ID. It's a very difficult thing to do. You have to petition. It's a whole court process. And many of the states, I didn't look before I came here actually, but most states you can't actually still do it.
Oh.
Like even if you physically transition, your government ID will still identify you're born.
Is it because of what your birth certificate says?
Yes, but you can also petition to like change that, right? So everything in the U.S. is some paperwork, right? Like, but it's more just a societal norm. And that's where like morals, we always talk about like, oh, separation of church and state. Nah, people are bringing all that straight to decisions on how you live your life.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize. And even things like bathrooms, as a high school social worker, that was one of my number one things with my transgender youth was people don't realize the number one issue with trans youth is medical complications. They do not use the restroom all day, and then they get urinary tract infections regularly because they're not, or they won't drink water all day just so they don't have to go to the bathroom, and now they're like significantly dehydrated. Yeah, these are like real problems that people like just think it's like, oh, you don't want to be bullied. Like, nah, I'm really incurring some issues, so it's a thing.
That's crazy. It's all of the stuff that you don't think about because it doesn't directly affect you.
Right.
You know, that's crazy. I can imagine like not wanting to drink water because I don't want to use the bathroom because I don't want to have to go to the men's room because I don't identify as a man.
Wow.
Right.
That's
all
a
of that.
lot.
But
That's
I
layered.
have to look like
That's a
one
lot.
to
Right.
make everybody else feel comfortable.
Right. Or like I had a passing youth, was transgender boy, transgender male, teen, passing, which is like literally you would not know if we did not tell you, except was failing gym class because they refused to change for gym because they knew like, well, I can get in the locker room, but it'll be very obvious at some point when I'm in here that I don't have the same parts as you, and that could be a problem, right? Or going in the girls' bathroom, it's like, well, then, you're going to notice at some point, like, why are you in here? And then when I change, maybe you'll figure it out. But yeah, so it's a whole thing. So then having to advocate like, hey, gym teacher, they don't have to change. As long as they're participating, can like, we just get these points already? Like, listen, like, stupid.
Wow.
Little stuff.
Hey, y'all. So my mom's birthday just passed, and you've heard me talk about Val and the Valettes. So we all took a really dope picture together to celebrate her birthday. And so I decided that I wanted to do something special for Christmas with this photo. And in comes Paint Your Life. Like, I'm so excited because I'm going to have Paint Your Life take this photo and make it amazing and big for her to hang at home. So let me tell you a little bit about Paint Your Life, because you're probably like, hey, Farron, what's Paint Your Life? Let me get you into it. So with Paint Your Life, you get to choose a photo and you send it to them and they hand paint it, and you get to pick an artist, and it's professionally done. Like, it looks beautiful. Tahir and I have one right now hanging in our living room, and so I'm super excited to share this as a gift for my mom. So the whole process is super quick. Like I said, you get to choose from a team of world-class artists. It's professionally hand painted. It is beautiful. So I cannot wait to see the magic that they create with this photo. So if you have something special or you have someone special and you want an amazing gift idea, go to paintyourlife.com. And let me tell you how to get a little discount, a little something off. So if you go to paintyourlife.com, there's no risk. If you don't love the final painting, your money is refunded, guaranteed. And right now, as a limited time offer, get 20% off your painting. It's already super affordable, but you get an extra 20% off. That's right, 20% off, y'all. And free shipping. To get this special offer, text the word story to 64,000. That's story to 64,000. Text story to 64,000. Paint your life. Celebrate the moments that matter most. Terms apply. Available at paintyourlife.com/terms. Enjoy. Okay, so the next little tier on the gender unicorn is the who you're physically attracted to, because I remember thinking when Caitlyn Jenner made her transition, I was like, oh, so like she's into men now. And it's like, nope, she's still very much like with women.
Right.
And I was like, oh, then what was the point? Like I was really confused.
So Caitlyn's a lesbian.
Yes, right.
Yes.
So now it's like, went from, I guess, a cisgendered man to a
lesbian woman.
A lesbian woman. Wow.
But you just
mind
brought up
blown.
the number one confusion with transgender people, and that's where, like, people get fixated on the labels. At the end of the day, like, that person likes who they like. Like, the label really isn't important because they're like, well, is Caitlyn really a lesbian because Caitlyn was a man? I'm like, listen, Caitlyn is who Caitlyn is now. And if you need a label, the label is lesbian because Caitlyn likes girls. Like, don't make it harder than it needs to be.
It needs to be.
Like,
Right,
okay.
right.
I got confused because one day we were talking about, her children, and I didn't know if I was like, so is she their mother now or is she their father? And like people were laughing. I was like, I'm not trying to be funny.
serious.
I want to make sure when I'm talking about this, I'm talking in the right way. And so they were like, well, her children still refer to her as their father.
Right.
So I was like, well, how do I talk about it? Then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to talk about it.
Talk about it.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Her
Listen,
kids.
Look,
If
that
I start
goes back
sweating
to
under
the
my pits,
episode-
I'll be like, it's a ramen noodles, huh?
To the cancel culture episode, because it's like, you know what, it's too murky. I'm going to get something wrong.
Her kids.
People are going to be upset. Like
Yep.
that level of fear of saying the wrong
Let
thing.
me tell you something. Even in a situation like this where we're learning, we're talking to somebody that's part of the community, I'm still choosing my words very
Carefully.
carefully.
Yes.
I love him.
I'm talking slowly, over enunciating to make sure that I am getting it correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how I address cancel culture, because I think it comes from my therapist background too in communication. Is I tell people, we lie, it's human nature, we do it. I try not to do it as often as some people make it, a behavioral habit, but I reserve the right to change my mind.
Yep.
Right? So I teach people, even my followers, they'll be like, Tiff, 2 years ago, you said this. Well, hello, that was 2 years ago.
Right.
I got new information, new life experiences.
feel different.
reserve the right to change my mind. I got new information, had new experiences. It's different.
Yeah.
And so that's one way you can teach people, like, it is human nature to change. When people are like, oh, you got money, you big now, you different. Is that not the point? How dumb I look being a millionaire now, and I still live in the same hood that I came from. Like, do I want to
Ridiculous.
help develop that environment and help, grow that neighborhood? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, my kids need a different education and they need a different experience.
Right,
Hello.
right.
So that's what I tell people. Like, this is a learning experience. And yeah, if I learn something new today, I would hope it informs a change of opinion or viewpoint for tomorrow.
Yes. Okay. Oh, look at this. So the last tier is identifying like who you're emotionally attracted to. And this is the one that really like caught me off guard, because I'm like, I just never thought of separating like who a person is emotionally attracted to from who they're physically attracted to, because it seemed like with time those two, I mean, naturally they can go hand in hand, but to just have them so separate. So can you? Oh,
I think before she jumps, I think you've done it before, because like the people who, even with your celebrity crush, I think you were attracted to them on a, I don't want to say emotional level, but maybe on a energy level.
Who
right?
was it?
Lil Wayne. She used to be attracted to.
I was not
this one.
physically attracted to him, but just something about.
I mean,
He was the best rapper. He
his
was on top of the
personality
game.
at
His
the
personality, the way he, he moved. She thought
I
that
was like, he's not attractive to me at all, but like physically attractive. But it's like something
She
about
would've
the
let him
way he
smash.
moved. I'm
Yeah,
like,
she
you
would've
know
let him
what?
smash.
From the back, let's get it.
Amen. Oh my goodness.
Look at Ty. Ty's like, I mean, I can't get on Lil Wayne, but that Dan Aykroyd.
not so. I said this on Zoom with Wolf Blitzer.
Wow.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
With his glasses on? You make him smash with the glasses on?
Listen, give it to me. Jeff Goldblum, like,
Oh, yeah.
I can
all
see
of
that.
it.
I can see
I
that.
feel like Jeff Goldblum is so eccentric. I feel like he would be smashing
He's
you
so
and juggling at the
sexy.
same time.
He's
He'd be like,
so
"That's fine."
sexy. He's so sexy to me.
I went to
So
Aruba.
sexy.
I'm like,
Just so
He
sexy.
he is. And it's so crazy because just following his career, he started out like just kind of, just like this kind of goofy guy. And he just
Yeah.
transitioned into it. And it's like, okay, I see you.
he started off like Kramer, like the real life
Yes,
Kramer.
like just
and then
very
somehow they was like,
goofy and
you're
quirky.
hot. And he was just like,
Let me lean in.
Like I like
Don't lean out from I'm hot.
I like
Right.
Anderson Cooper too, even though I know he's gay. I don't
Yes.
care. Give
Oh,
it
yeah.
to come
Tons
here.
of
well,
people.
that's the physical attraction thing.
Yeah.
The one we were just
Yeah,
talking about.
so
You're
physical,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're physically,
But I don't
physically
care.
attracted to him.
Like I'll be in a cut. You change your mind today? What's up with it?
But-
You know what I mean?
What's up with
Like-
it?
But that's just it. Like the physical attraction, I guess, comes so easy. I never thought of like, oh, how different are the people that I'm emotionally attracted to
Right.
than who I'm physically attracted to. Because to be emotionally attracted to somebody, like you really know this. You have to know this person.
Right.
And then
do you know? Because I mean, I'm
on an
thinking.
emotional level, like you,
I'm thinking.
How
So
could you not?
hear me out like this.
I guess.
I'm looking at Tabitha Brown, right? Emotionally, she looked like a person that I would love to be my aunt or my mom or a cousin, because the love that she displays on camera to her family, to like you just want that time, and I'm
Yes.
attracted to that emotion that she gives off. Now I'm not physically attracted to her. I admit she's a very beautiful woman, has a beautiful family, and things, but
Absolutely.
I don't look at her and be like, oh yeah, Tabitha, right? But emotionally, I'm like, Tabitha is the fucking bomb.
Very true. Very
true.
true. Great point. Great point. And I totally see what you mean now.
So the best example for that is we talk about platonic life partners. It's most talked about in polyamorous relationships and the poly community in regards to you can be emotionally like in love with somebody but not sexually attracted to them. And for women, the easiest example is your best friend.
Yep.
Right? And me and my
Yeah.
best friend have said this because people are like, oh, Tiffany, you're not straight. But most of my friends, you know, especially female friends, are straight, you know, and they're not like the straight. They're like, oh, when I get drunk, I make out with girls. No, they're like, I'm straight, you know. So it's not like, oh, I just get everybody drunk and we're all like making out. That's not the case. But even my best friend just recently, she was like, if I was gay, though, we could probably be life partners. I'm like, we are life partners.
Yep.
You know, like
Yeah.
you are my life, like
Yep.
you're my emotional life partner. Like
Yep.
without you, boo,
Yeah.
I don't know. All right,
Yep.
babe. Like, you know, and so I think for women, that's the easiest example is like, yeah, you're not attracted physically necessarily to your best friend. You know they're beautiful, of course. Like
Yeah.
like my two like from childhood, like the one I just referenced, she's known me since I was 13, and then I have a best friend since the 3rd grade. And those are like the two most beautiful women to me. But I'm like, yeah, I'm not like trying to do you. You know what I mean?
Right.
But emotionally, like, yeah, like I can do life with you
Yeah.
easily. And so
Right.
that's like the best example for most people is that kind of like, yeah, you can be emotionally attach to somebody, emotionally love somebody, but not be physically attracted to them. And I don't know. I would love to hear from an asexual person if that happens for them, because they're not physically attracted to people, but I'm sure they still have emotional relationships.
Right.
I have yet in therapy or like in any social service setting come across an asexual person. I thought I had met an asexual person, and then it turns out no, she likes men. So I was like, okay, man, I see you, boo. Like you like him. It was like I think we all just presumed that she was asexual, and then one day like a really fine principal walked through the door, and we're like, hey, and then she was like, hey, and then we all knew. So like, oh, never mind. We're all on the same page here. So we were all just making presumptions, I guess. But yeah, so you can be emotionally attracted to someone without being physically attracted.
Yeah. Okay. So it's nice to know that that also falls on this. Is spectrum a safe word to use for?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm like,
As I say, like you be like, you don't want to say nothing wrong.
See, I don't know, because like some last year, sometime during the pandemic, I disclosed that I don't have a problem dating a bisexual man, and people were like, what? And I was like, I mean, we have that in common. We both like dick.
Amen.
But I wasn't tied to it. And then like on TikTok, the lesbians on TikTok are top tier.
do tell more, please.
Like when I first got on, like there's this one lady, and she presents as I think they call it dominant or whatever, but she's beautiful, but it's very, dreads and put together and, like very attractive. And like her girlfriend or wife, I think they're married, wife, looks more of the feminine, but they're both beautiful women. And they did this video one time that was like, if you go get her, I'm gonna go get her. And then we both gonna get her. And I was looking at my phone like, they can see me? Like, they coming to get me? But I was like,
but also
I might be down to get gotten.
Down to be gotten.
Like, and I don't know what it is. Cause like, I know lesbians in real life, but the TikTok lesbians, hey man,
the energy they get you with the
hey,
energy.
man.
You remember their handles? Let
I
the
don't
people
remember,
know.
but I don't remember.
I'll push you out that chair.
Cause look, one day I was like, cause if you look at something long enough on TikTok, then it'll start showing you more of that. And one day I was like, oh no, I am in
the rabbit
lesbian TikTok. I got to turn my phone off. I need to go somewhere else.
Right.
So then I had to look up like the Revolutionary Black Lives Matter, oh, here we go. Okay, I'm in, because
You was in the hole. You
because
was
I was like,
Right. She was in the sunken place
like,
for
maybe.
lesbians.
because I was sitting there like, I was like, am I gay? And then I was like, it would make sense if I was, because my relationships with dudes, it don't be working. But then I was like, I ain't trying to go down on no girls,
Now-
so maybe I'm not. But I'll let one do me. I don't know.
Well, you just put it out on
try
this
it.
episode,
Just,
you know what I'm
so
saying?
your
Like-
DMs, Ty Davis, about to blow
Like,
up. And be
I
like,
don't-
let me.
You can't say things like this around me because I'm going to encourage you to lean in.
Because now
Right.
here's the thing. Like one of my celebrity crushes, listen, Rihanna,
Oh, yeah.
She could get it.
if she walked through that door right now and was like, come with me, all right, I'm out.
All right, y'all. It's been
Like,
fun.
I'm going to let her
I'll be
smash.
like, can he come? No. See you later.
I'm a full blown let her smash, but also be like, hey, you think I can be an ambassador for Fenty? I wear your stuff and I spend a lot of money with you.
Child.
Like I spend a lot of money with you, but I'm gonna let you hit.
That's what she gonna do.
Like I think because she just oozes
Yes, she does.
Yes.
like sex and confidence and
It's
I used to have
the
a crush on
confidence.
Angelina Jolie before she, did stuff to her face and made herself not look
Me too.
good.
That used to be like my Halle Berry and Angelina Jolie used
Yeah.
to be like the ultimate.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
Halle
was
Berry
in
still
love
is.
with Tomb
Yeah.
Raider Angelina.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
watched that movie just to like drool watching her do backflips and
But when
shit.
they say like feminine energy, the divine feminine, like Rihanna, Erykah Badu, like that's what they be talking about. I'd be like, oh,
Erica Badu. I just
Erykah
want to have
Badu
some
got
tea
something
with
else.
Erica Badu.
anything.
I
Just
I just
in
want
the
to have
room.
some tea. I would learn how to knit just so I can be right
Erica
there at the
different.
goddamn
well,
needles.
I mean, she out there selling candles that smell like her pussy. Let me
Yeah,
smell it
she is
firsthand.
different.
Let me hand it here. Let me smell it
compare.
firsthand.
Incense, yeah.
I'll tell you.
Because I don't even want to know what my pussy candle would smell like. Nah, I'm cool. Like
It's more like what day of the week pussy does look like. As women, like she be going through moods, Like, is this the I drank a lot of water and pineapple day?
Yeah.
Or is this like I came from the gym day?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying.
Like I'm
So
cool.
true. Hey y'all, let me tell you about HelloFresh. So I love HelloFresh. It's like a staple in my house right this moment. And let me tell you why. Because it cuts out the meal planning. I have said time and time again how much I hate it. I don't like thinking about it. I just want somebody to hand me things and then I will prepare the things. Well, HelloFresh does that. And now, because scheduling in life is getting kind of back to normal and a little more hectic after this long year off, I am jumping into these quick meals they have. They have 15 to 20-minute dinners, 10-minute lunch options. Like, it's so fast. You in and out, and you eating, and you're happy, and the world is calm. And if you up for the challenge, like HelloFresh has up to 50 menu and market items each week, ready to eat salads, sandwiches, and soups, and just all these other options. If you want to kick it up a notch, they'll hand you a steak. If you're trying to go pescatarian, they have fish options. If you want to go veggie, they have veggie options. Like, they have all of it from keto to plant-based, like whatever you need, it's available. So let me tell you how you can get HelloFresh in your house. Go to HelloFresh.com/14more. That's 14MOORE and use code 14more for up to 14 free meals plus shipping. That is HelloFresh.com/14more for up to 14 free meals plus shipping. And if you're wondering about Green Chef, then guess what? HelloFresh owns Green Chef. So, like, you get the same quality with both companies. I'm not putting one over the other. Both are dope. I use both of them. So, to get HelloFresh for you, go to HelloFresh.com/14more and use code 14more for up to 14 free meals plus shipping. Enjoy.
Oh my
my
God. Well,
God.
this was a fun episode.
yes. So let's just embrace this community as a whole. Like, I just feel like, and I feel like I've said it before, the queer community's plight, their story, just parallels with the Black community struggles and everything. And so I just feel like we should just really be there for each other. We've been going through the exact same shit. So just, you can be an ally. Don't treat, like I was reading, just something about cisgendered people at pride events and stuff, and like how it was kind of made a spectacle of, and he was like, oh, they wanted to take their kids, and like in their minds their intentions were pure, just wanted my kids to be a part of the experience, but then you're also like pointing out, oh, look, and it's offensive,
Right.
So, and just reading that story, I was like, I wouldn't have thought of that. I also just wouldn't have been like, ooh, look, but
Yeah.
I just
Facts.
wouldn't have thought anything
Right.
of it if I saw somebody else doing it. And just being aware of just like, these are humans like you. We're all people.
Yeah.
And we should just support and be there for one another, you guys. So with all that being said, I hope that you've learned all the things and lots of things, and get it, yes. And Tiffany, tell the people where to find you.
Oh, very easy. On all social media, it's TikTok TV. I'm terrible at TikTok, specifically, but it's TIFFTALK TV on all social media. And then if you need like therapeutic services or something like that, you can always reach out to GeminiWellness.org.
Nice. Okay.
To hear more at To Hear More on all platforms.
No one asked.
Okay.
I was just say, dang, should I say anything?
So, yes, you can say things. You've seen him get out of hand. He's
Okay.
been being the worst version of himself. So Ty, tell people.
I'm Ty Davis. You can find me on Instagram at comedian Ty Davis. Also, I identify as a cisgender heterosexual woman, and I know I've said some things. please
You
don't
about to get all
come in
pussy
my
pics in your
DMs.
DMs.
Yeah, please don't
All
send
sorts
me
of flowers going to be up in your
don't
DM.
send me your lotus flower. I'm good.
Pop that pussy for a
You know,
real one like Ty Davis.
unless you Rihanna, I'm gonna be honest. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't Rihanna, don't get your ass
You
out
about
of
to
here.
have chicks like I've been
So-
told I look like Rihanna.
Yeah, nah, you got to be Ree to be with me. It's like,
got to be Ree
you
to
know what I
be
mean?
with
You got
me.
to be Ree to be with me. You
That's
can't look
great.
like her. No.
That's great.
That's amazing. I really wanted this to be within Pride Month, but it's not. But still, like the education should not stop just because we're
month is over.
outside
For sure.
of
Yeah.
the month of June. So I just wanted to acknowledge that before anybody is like, "Why you didn't do this?" Because I could not. So
Scheduling is real, guys.
right. So this has been another great episode of More to the Story. I want to thank my beautiful guests for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Yes,
Thanks for
thank
having
you.
me.
Oh,
Fairmore, and
I'm to hear more.
that's
More
it.
to the
Peace
story. We
out.
see you
More to
next
the
week on
story.
another episode of
Thanks.
More to the Story. Thank you
Next
guys so
week-
much for watching.
next
We
week,
appreciate you.
please
Thank you to our
watch.
guests.
Thank
We get
you.
up out of here.
Bye.
Talk to y'all later.
Love you all.
Bye, guys. We love you all.
I'll get the last word.
I'll get the
Shut
last
up.
word. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Next week. Kim, end it. Don't wait for her to
Yes.